Good evening. Once again, we return to the story of Caius, Spellsword, Dunmer, Eternal Champion, finest courier in Tamriel, former agent of the Emperor, current head of the Blades in Vardenfell, Hortator of the Great Houses, and we will resume our effort to try and unite the Ashlander clans. But I did get a little sidetracked, so let's just take a minute here and look at my last couple of quest entries. Alright, we definitely did that. Alright, so we may not do this, but here's what we've got.
16th of Morningstar, day 154. The Oracle believes that I am fated to recover the ancient Warhammer Skullcrusher. I must discover a sealed Daedric ruin that may be accessed only through the halls of the dead. To help me solve the puzzle of this prophecy, the Oracle told me to consult a Dunmer Scout and a Dunmer Savant. Her vision suggests I must face restless spirits and a powerful Daedra to recover the Warhammer. If I find Skullcrusher, I must return it to the Oracle so that she may free it of its creator's curse. A Dunmer Savant told me that the Halls of the Dead might refer to any Dunmer ancestral tomb. The ancient Dunmer word for ancestral tomb is Cardrune. Rune translates as home or hearth hall. Card means undeparted kin wardens. Then to find access to Skullcrusher in its sealed Daedric ruin, I must search for ancestral tombs near the ruin. Perhaps there is an underground passage between a tomb and a sealed Daedric ruin.
And of course, I suspect we'll know a little bit more when I talk with the Dunmer Scout, but this would be in Vivek. Do I have any books? None that it looks like now. This isn't always the most exciting to start off with, but in the interests of... Oh, and it looks like I had some sales to do as well. These broadcasts go both to a vodcast on Twitch as well as a YouTube video. The YouTube video is the higher quality one. But if I do a little alchemy, it gives people a chance to come in. So... I'm just hanging on to the vampire dust for experimentation in case the opportunity comes up. I don't have any fortified strength, so I don't have anything else to do with the ash yam right now, and the void salts will be for restore magicka. For that, I basically use Comberry. Now, it's pretty unlikely I'm going to have any fortify speed, but it's very helpful if I do, so let's take a quick second to find... Alright. So I don't have as many racer plumes as I used to, but let's try for drain willpower and levitate. Crush fiber I think I'm hanging on to for when I find stone flower petals, so those get set aside. Scales used to do something helpful. I think it was drain personality. So ash stalls are always hard to get rid of, so let's try either resist magic or drain agility. Damage intelligence is the same as drain intelligence. Maybe the scuttle. Just trying to clear out whatever I can out of my inventory. I keep the mushrooms aside just because they're really helpful for getting rid of other things. Of course, now I have a majority of them, but alright, and at this point, I don't think there's anything. I could combine the Luminous Rosala and the Violent Coprinus, but that doesn't quite line up with my plans. Should give me something I can work with. And I can pick up my sword again. So I don't recall if we've done our sort of our journeys out here already. I will try and sell at least a few things.
Welcome, friend. I feel
Aren't you a
the
saint?
sands on the sun and sky.
Ours is to ask.
Now again, it's possible I've already gone to this alchemist. Yep. So I do have a sale I want to make at the Fighters Guild. Apparently I didn't get rid of the glass chink blade. I don't think there's anything else I'll be able to sell, but get what I can.
Share your thoughts, friend. I enjoy the company.
Oh, right. Because it's so expensive.
So good to see you.
I don't normally travel at night, but it does sometimes look nice.
I feel as though I have just awakened from a dream, a terrible dream of the 6th house.
You do like reminding me of that.
Thank you again. I'll tell everyone I know about how you saved my life.
Please do.
May you find
Alright, now we've already spoken with the Ursulaku, but we have not spoken with the Ursulaku since I became the Hortador, so it wouldn't hurt to sort of catch up. And then we can sort of see what the next few steps are going to be. If I have an opportunity to visit Vivek, I'll take it, but I don't want to. I don't really want to go out of my way for it. Stay away.
How may I? May you find all that you seek.
The guards here are pretty cool. Maybe they appreciate the extra light, I don't know.
Welcome. If you wish to talk.
I don't know if Ajira is going to have anything we can... Nope.
Welcome.
Hello, Mazeline. I'd like to go to Alderun, please.
Share your thoughts, friend. I enjoy the company.
Always happy to pass the time of day with you, Caius. Maybe you've heard of the latest rumors come to Alderun?
Which ones?
Some Ashlanders near Margan have been bragging about how they captured a famous noble. I wonder who it is.
I don't. I already took care of it. Alright. It's just a chance for me to buy a couple of things that'll help me out. So if there's any fortify speed, that's particularly good. Should probably take the vampire dust. And then we'll just dump off whatever potions I can manage. I feel like I made many more potions in this. Alright, well, here's how I'm going to handle that. Let's take any restore fatigue that's heavy. Alternatively, any restore fatigue that had that fortify, although I think those have already been taken care of.
honor, to be sure.
I don't think the Silt Strider trip is going to completely cover my mana, or my magicka, but
Should you need something,
I don't need the full amount.
I would be happy to oblige.
I'm still looking for your artifact.
Good day, stranger. Welcome to Alderun. I'm a local caravaneer, and I can tell you about Siltstrider travel if you tell me your destination. Are you new to Alderun? I'd be happy to tell you about local services or help you find someone in particular. Is there a specific place in Alderun you're looking for?
It's always the same destination, man. Just more God, please.
Why walk when you can ride?
Why indeed? What are you doing out here?
I don't believe I've seen a dark elf in such a grand outfit in some time. Can I help you?
I don't know, can you? Who are you?
Just an egg miner.
What does an egg miner do?
I'm a miner. Usually here on Vardenfell, being a miner means you're an egg miner. Scrib jerky and scrib jelly, Quama eggs, and Quama cuddle are the basis of our Vardenfell economy. Yes, there are more valuable resources we take from the mines: raw ebony, raw grass, drow wax, daedra skin, daedra heart, diamond, ash salts, and so forth. And that's good work too, but it's the egg miners who feed Morrowind and bring cash over from all over the Empire.
Noble work, then. Ideally, I won't get sidetracked too much on the way there, because again, the only purpose of stopping by the Urshalaka camp is to just give a progress report. I already went the wrong way. How much am I carrying? Oh, it's still pretty heavy. Well, you're a long way from home. Obviously, I've done a good job of clearing out the path. I recall that the Urshalaka gave me sort of an ordering in terms of who I should talk to. It does look like there's going to be at least one difficult clan. But we'll deal with it at the time. Well, I tried to avoid it. The fact that there's still music means there's either it usually pretends either a cliff racer or because it's a shock. Yeah, there it is. I really could just try flying over these. I'm lazy and I don't like getting wet. Sounds like cliff racers don't like having the competition. I'm sure this would be a breathtaking view if it was in the middle of the night. Probably should consider getting a little bit closer to the ground. I might get lucky and run into the golden seats in these ruins, so I'll take a, say the scenic route just to see if there's any opportunities that present itself. Daedra Lord works in a pinch. I'm kind of curious what sort of a gem that wound up in. Alright, a common. I'm going to assume, yeah, this is too heavy. So as much as I would love to carry that, I'm not going to be ridiculous. Besides, I'm going to be very happy to get indoors.
I'm concerned. Why have you not yet fulfilled the prophecies of the Nerevarine? Have you done something wrong? Have you forgotten your destiny? I've heard that the leader of the temple, a man made Tholer Sariani, is desperate, and that he asks you to come speak with him in the high fane of Vivek City. Please, if there is some problem, go to Sarioni. Perhaps there's still hope. Zulmatul has named you the Ursulaku Nerevarine, but until you have been named Amusa Nerevarine, Zainib Nerevarine, Erebeninson, some Nerevarine as well, you will have not passed the 5th trial. You're the hortator of all 3 great houses, Redoran, Hlalu, and Telveni. You have fulfilled that part of the prophecy. You have fulfilled the 4th trial of the 7 visions.
And the 5th?
The 5th trial is a stranger's hand unites the Velothi. 4 tribes call him Nerevarine. 4 tribes are the 4 tribes of Vardenfell, the Ursulaku, the Amamusa, the Zainab, and the Arabininsum. When you've been named Nerevarine by each of the 4 Ashlander tribes of Vardenfell, come to me for further guidance, and you will have passed the 5th trial.
Alright, I suppose I do need to figure out what's going on with this.
You must go to Amamusa camp. I have heard that the Amusa are in a pitiful way. They do not have an ashcan. In this case, the wise woman may be acting as chief of the tribe, and perhaps she can speak for the tribe to name you Amusa Nerevarine. You must go to the Zainab camp. The Ashcan of Zainab, Kaushad, is a strong and popular chief, but he is known to be vain and hard-headed. To persuade him to name you Zainab Nerevarine, you must be strong, yes, but you must also be clever, to please him and earn his favor. You must go to Arabininsum camp. The Ashcan of Arabininsum, Ulethpal, is a strong chief, but violent and cruel. He and the Gulkans are known killers and attack unarmed victims and betray the rules of hospitality. It is a difficult problem. Only the Ashcan can name you Nerevarine, but this Ashcan may not be willing, and even if he were, he is a bad chief, dishonorable, and not to be trusted. I do not know what you should do. Speak with the tribe's wise woman, and perhaps she will give you counsel.
Alright, so I suppose it was this Ashcan who gave me the advice then.
Yes, Caius, I promise you my aid and counsel. The 5th trial is to join the 4 tribes of the Ashlanders under the Nerevarine. They must put aside pride and tribal squabbles and together face the blighted hosts of Dagothur. The Ursulaku shall name you Nerevarine, but you must concern yourself with the other tribes, the meek Amusa, the wily Zainab, and the war-loving Arabinson. They may not be so quick in naming the Nerevarine as the Ursulaku. For you to fulfill the prophecy and unite the 4 tribes, you must be named as Nerevarine by each of the 4 Vardenfell tribes. When you tell your story to the Ashcan of each tribe and show them your proofs, he should acknowledge you as Nerevarine on behalf of his tribe. But it may not be so simple, as an Ashcan may take the opportunity to extract favor or service from you, where the Arabininsum may not be so ready to accept an outlander as the Nerevarine. Good. First, I will give you a warning. When you are called Nerevarine, the word must spread, and many must hear. Your enemies will hear and come seeking your blood. And such friends as you may have among the great houses, those who heed the words of the temple, they may forget their love for you. If you have any business with those people of the houses in the temple, you may wish to conduct that business first, before you are named Nerevarine. Second, I tell you to seek the counsel of the wise woman Nibani Mesea, for you are an outlander and ignorant of the ways of our people. Nibani Mesea can tell you of the other tribes, of their ways, and of their Ashcans. If you do not know these things, you may make many mistakes and waste precious time. That is my counsel. Now, if you wish to be named Ursulaku Nerevarine, we may speak of such things. Nibani Mesea was concerned that I had not fulfilled the Nerevarine prophecy. She says that she hears that a man named Tholer Sarioni, the leader of the temple, is desperate. Nibani Mesea asked me to go speak with Sarioni at the High Fane in Vivek City.
Now we did get a note about that. Alright, let's just read this again.
A package sealed with an anonymous wax seal containing a single-page, unsigned note on the cover of the package to the Outlander lately proclaiming his identity as the Nerevarine to be delivered with haste. The note itself. The assertions being made in direct contradiction of the doctrine of the tribunal, namely that you are the Nerevarine, the reincarnation of the sainted Lord Nerevar, are, in addition to being against temple teaching, incredible and implausible to the extreme. The revelations made by the Inquisition, namely that you yourself are in fact an agent of the Imperial Intelligence Services, otherwise known as the Order of Blades, lately made with substantial evidence by the Lord High Archordinator, Beryl Sala, further calls into question the validity of and motivations behind your claims. However, as incredible as your claims are, as much as they are in direct contradiction to the teachings of the temple, and tainted as they are by the inferences to be made upon your close association with the covert policies and interests of the Emperor, the interests of the temple and its leadership, and in particular the interests of his immortal lordship Vivek, are best served by a close and personal examination of the claims being made, and close and personal examinations of the motivations and character of the claimant. The temple, through its examinations of its records, in particular the records of the hieroglypha and apocrypha, is intimately familiar with the many and varied claims of signs and feats that would mark the Nerevarine according to prophecy. Therefore, in the event of the fulfillment of certain of those most remarkable and scarcely credible claims, namely that the claimant should at one time be the acknowledged holder of several ancient titles of power and authority of the Dunmer people, to wit, Hortator of the Great Houses and Nerevarine of the Ashlander tribes, the temple proposes that the claimant of the identity of the Nerevarine shall present himself for inspection before the revered honor Archcanon Lord Tholer Sarioni, High Archcanon and Chancellor of Vivek, Archcanon of the Canonry of Vardenfell, Archpriest of the High Fane, for a review and consideration of his claims and identity. However, until such time as the claimant actually has been named Hortator separately and jointly by the three great houses of Vardenfell, and at the same time has been named Nerevarine separately and jointly by the four tribes of the Ashlanders, there is no purpose in reviewing or discussing these claims. Because of the temple's official position on the prophecies of the Nerevarine, and in the interests of preserving the security of the claimant from those parties who might wish to do him harm, it is convenient that the claimant of the title of Nerevarine shall present himself in secret to Archcanon Sarioni in the Archcanon's private quarters in the High Fane of Vivek. To signify agreement with these terms and conditions for a meeting with the Archcanon, the Nerevarine claimant may present himself to the healer of the High Fane of Vivek, Danso Indulus, and the necessary arrangements will be made. Once again, no purpose is served by meeting until the claimant is named Hortator of the three great houses and is named Nerevarine of the four Ashlander tribes. Written at the request of you and in the name of his Reverend, Honor Tholer Sarioni, Archcanon and Chancellor of Vivek. Deleno Loren, Priest of Vivek, Assistant to the Archcanon.
Alright, so we are still on the right track. I am going to check one more thing in my journal. Alright, so this is just a repetition. I feel like there was a recommendation in terms of how I should do the fifth prophecy, or the fifth trial. Alright, the Arabinan the Sun is the last one I want to go to. It's also the hardest to get to, which is just as well. I'm wondering if maybe I should just go straight to Telmora. This seems like it would be a long walk. Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of a pain that I just walked this whole way to get information that I already knew, but magicka practice in, we'll get a nap. No, a proper night's sleep, and then we'll use the guild guide to get us where we need to go. It's a late start to the day, but nothing too drastic. Seeing as I'm here, let's take a minute to see if I'll be able to... Well, I might be able to sell more things, but I think the lesson from the last time
I see this land.
I bought some items.
You'll
Oh, hang
find
on.
all that you
I suppose if I was thinking, I could have gone back and got that other Daedric weapon.
under sun and sky, Outlander.
Sorry, I suspect
How
all the bouncing
delightful.
must be annoying.
Welcome.
It gives me a little something to do, and it moves a bit faster. Alright, I'd like to go to Zadrith Mora, please.
How can I help you?
I suppose I can still do a little,
Do you want something?
do a little practice.
Keep moving, scum.
Telvanni Rep is just mad that I can do magic. I always get a little tied up in terms of how the ports work here, so this may not get me exactly where I need to go. But it's closer than walking.
Keep moving, scum.
So ideally I wind up in either Voss, Telvoss, Telmora.
I'm Gale Zarethi, shipmaster of Zadrith Mora. What's your destination?
You tell me. Alright, I can work with Telmora.
What do you want, Outlander?
Passage to Voss. Thank you. Alright, so we'll just head north. North. Not that far. I think Skyrim's either an earlier game or a much later one. But I'll head north and see if I can get looks like I already picked all those. Alright. See if we can get the Nervarine status. It is kind of nice that I'm heading to this camp first, just because it does seem to be that they're the weakest. So probably the most likely to be on my side other than the Ursulaku. wise thing for their wise woman, so. Still trying to find the heavy restore fatigue, either to sell or to consume to free up this space. And there's really no point to this detour other than just to get more soul gems. I thought that was a traveler. Hi. It's hoping for something a little bit more strong as far as the shields are concerned. I've seen them with glass shields before, so I wonder if they'll be able to get the glass tower shield that I failed to. Well, I saw it once, but I tried to reload to get a better deal and lost. That's totally on me.
Who are you? What do you want?
To talk to the wise woman.
A warm welcome to you.
Have you given a courtesy visit to my Gulkans? No? Have you no manners? Go! Do what you should do before I speak with you. The Gulkans of the Amusa are Kausi, herder and initiate, Dudatok, hunter and brother, and Yanamu, scout and brother.
A warm welcome to you.
Welcome, Outlander.
I've completely forgotten their names. Sorry, once again. Kausi, Dudatok, Yama. Huh. Well, I've got to.
Who are you? What do you want?
I would like to be named the Nerevarine.
You've come to claim the name of Nerevarine. I hope you come to do the deeds of the Nerevarine. We need the deeds, not the name. You must speak to the wise woman, Sanamu Mirpal. We are a poor, sad tribe without an ashcan and led by a wise woman. And we are its Gulkans. We say this with shame, for we are as weak and helpless as children. Go to her, Outlander. Tell her that you wish to do the deeds of a hero and save the Amusa. Maybe then you will have earned the name Nerevarine.
I'll talk to the other Gulkans just in case.
You are Caius. We have heard that some say that you are the Nerevarine. For a long time the Ashlanders have heard of the Nerevarine prophecies. Perhaps some would say that the Amusa are better, but talk gives us no comfort. Speak to the wise woman, Sanamu Mirpal. Tell her that you will find a safe place for the Amusa. That is what I would wish to hear from one who wants to be named the Nerevarine. If you've come to steal, we have nothing, Outlander. If you've come to fight, then kill us and be done with it. But if you are the Nerevarine, please find a safe place for the Amusa. We need a place to go where our herds and people can be safe from the Blight and Blight monsters. For us, it is a matter of life and death. We hope some happy day the Nerevarine of Prophecy will defeat Dagothur and cast down the false gods, and the Blight will be gone, and there will be no more sick animals or monsters, and we can live here in peace. But if we do not find a safe place now, we will not survive to see that happy day. Speak to the wise woman, Sinamu Mirpal. She is our leader.
Hopefully now she'll be willing to talk to me.
So you've recovered the amulet of Ashamanu. Ashamanu Rupali told me of her vision, and now you are come. You've done the tribe a great service, but perhaps you may do us a greater service yet. I have heard of an Outlander who seeks to fulfill the Nerevarine prophecies and be named Nerevarine. Are you that Outlander?
I may be.
We know of the prophecies. We've also heard that an Outlander comes to fulfill these prophecies. Perhaps you are that Outlander, and perhaps not.
All right, you got me.
I know the prophecies. I know an Outlander, clan friend of the Ursulaku, has done great deeds and claims to fulfill those prophecies. Are you that Outlander, and why are you here?
I want the Amusa to name me Nerevarine.
I will examine your proofs, and you will tell me your story, and if I am satisfied, according to custom and with reference to the prophecies, I will name you Amusa Nerevarine. But there will be a price. The Amusa need a safe place, and you will provide that safe place.
How am I supposed to do that?
In seasons past, when threatened, the Amusa could take shelter in the ruins of Ald Daedroth. But now the priestess Hireni Indvel has come and restored the Daedric Shrine, and the worshippers of Shegarath dwell there, protected by terrible sorceries and summonings. First, you will go to Ald Daedroth and make it safe for the Amusa. Then you will return, and I will accompany you there. And if Ald Daedroth is a safe place for my people, I will name you the Nerevarine.
Tell me about it.
The Ald Daedroth Daedric site is a shrine to Shegarath, the Mad Lord. The surface ruins are on an island a great distance north as the Thracer flies.
And who is this Indvel individual?
All I know is that she is a Dunmer, and that she and her followers have defied the temple's ban against the worship of the four corners of the House of Troubles, the four Daedra Lords, Marunas Dagon, Molag Bal, Malakath, and Shegarath. Since so many Ordinators are busy fighting the hosts of Dagothur at the Ghost Gate, many of the abandoned Daedric sites have been once again inhabited.
All right.
The wise woman of the Amusa Ashlanders, Sinamu Mirpal, has said that she will name me Amusa Nerevarine, but first I must go to the Daedric Shrine at Ald Daedroth and make it safe for the Amusa. When I have made it Ald Daedroth safe, I must return to Sinamu Mirpal, and then she will accompany me to Ald Daedroth. Then, when she has seen whether Ald Daedroth is safe or not, she will name me the Amusa Nerevarine.
Could try water walking, I suppose, but we'll do levitate first. Things are oddly terrifying when they come out of nowhere. Hey there. I also used to get the Bull and Betty Netches mixed up, but I don't think they mind. It's nice of the Amusa to give me a task I would have done voluntarily. Going into Daedric shrines and destroying everything is kind of a hobby. And I think that's it. Through the fog. someone being mad at me. What are you attacking me for? Just went over the limit. Alright, what can I afford to part with? Be nice for a fortified personality, but before I go into the ruins, let's take a look and see whether or not that person sort of in the background is hostile. It's always a little disappointing when you come to ruins expecting Daedra and all you get are rats. I could have sworn there was somewhere around here. Ah.
Who are you, Outlander? And what are you doing here?
Who are you?
I don't know you, Outlander. What are you doing here? And are you here to worship at this foul shrine?
No, I'm here to loot this shrine.
Alright then, we don't care about that. In fact, you'll be doing us a favor if you kill a few witches and warlocks in the process. Just be careful. Leave us alone, we'll leave you alone.
Outlander.
Hello guys, I'm Bethis Sarathrill. I'm here to clean out this den of Daedra worshippers. You go right ahead and look for treasure if you like. We don't care. And if you kill a few witches and warlocks in the process, then even better.
I wonder how they'll feel about the Ashlanders showing up. also wonder if that other guy attacked me because I attacked his bone walker.
Die with honor!
As soon as the paralyzation works, wears off, you're in big trouble. I really should have come up with a better plan for carrying capacity. Well, no, still not quite enough. All right. Probably have the worst ratio. There we go. So before I go into any wings, I'll deal with what I can here. Looks like it's gonna force me either way, though. All right.
You're just here to loot the shrine, right? That's fine with us. Just be careful and leave us alone. We'll leave you alone.
Who are you?
I'm Andrathi Delas. I'm here to clean out this den of Daedra worshippers. You go right ahead and look for treasure if you like. We don't care.
Same with you, I guess. Might as well get a little soul trap in too. I know there was a weight 8 restore fatigue somewhere. At least I thought there was. Everything I can get. Oh god, these things are always so hard to find if you know, not worth it. None of these things are really worth all that much. At least this is light.
Going to be fun.
Hell, I'm over encumbered. Oh, fair enough. Yeah, again, the ashes disperse into the water. It makes it really hard to find. I don't think I've ever had a Daedric short sword before. You guys done yet?
My victory
should
is
run.
Good. I'm not crazy about the fact it's gonna take me, the film journey back, but it's just easier. These I kind of have a chance of selling at some point. I just don't think I have it right now. So, I seem to remember I had a sale pile somewhere. I don't remember where it was though, so I'll just put these by the door. Expensive robes, the amulets, all of that I think I can sell. And then the materials, I'm not going to bother doing any alchemy right now. It's probably just as well I get them. Out of the inventory. There's actually some good stuff that I picked up. We definitely have all of these books. Alright, so the weight's starting to look a little more reasonable. Let's see what I can sell.
Greetings, Outlander.
Probably should have brought some of the Induro,
Share your
just in
thoughts,
case.
friend. I enjoy the company.
So yeah, they've got 2,000. Everybody's telling about the 6 health dreams.
Share your thoughts, friend. I enjoy the company.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Alright, already too much. Once more with feeling. You're joking. Actually, I should have got some hammers out of him for that. Oh well. I suspect we'll be able to finally make a bit of headway here. Now, given the fact I have all these materials for the fact that I had all those materials for new potions suggests it wouldn't be a bad idea for me to head to the alchemist. But I don't want to waste more time than absolutely necessary. Okay, that's maybe a lie. I don't want to be too reckless in terms of all of the side things that I do. Oh, these are all good. Let's see if I can get that to 200.
Well met.
Alright, and I do think I'm going to try and set aside a few of the items that I have. Anything related to the Hortador and whatnot, I think I need to hang on to, but things like the Ring of the Wind, I'm not really sure I'm going to be using it all that much. What belt am I wearing? Right. Okay, first things first. So, things that I want to keep, but I'm not going to use right now. If I put on the cloak before it gets taken off. Right, okay. Clearly I'm not going to be using these gauntlets right now. Again, Akadosh's ring, nice, but I'm not going to be using right away. That I might even wind up selling at some point. This I'm going to hang on to because especially if I wind up with Skull Crusher, I might want to make blunt weapons my next focus. I think my existing rings I'm pretty happy with. Yeah, but I can definitely see the red and green wisdom being 2 rings that I would normally take. 30 is not bad for agility, and it also has a 0.1 weight, so... And again, Septim Ring's nice, but at this point I'll just set that aside. Alright, Alright, well, I should be selling these if I'm going to do anything with them. And actually, in the name of sanity. I'm not going to be doing alchemy, but I am going to tidy this up. I have a lot of nonsense. Alright. Precious stones anymore. I guess I forgot to sell these. And I did change my mind about one thing. I am actually going to try and sell off some potions. Because if this is the weight that I'm carrying,
3 blessings, Sarah.
clearly something is weighing me down.
What do you want?
Wrong way. I might also have some luck trying to sell those 6,000 amulets over at the fine clothier, but I'll probably have to wait until they're at their full their full gold. Alright. And for some reason I forgot to bring the red lichen. Alright. I won't even bother buying materials. Let's just outgoing only. It's not like I don't need it's not like I don't need cure poison. I'm just looking for stuff that might be a little heavy. Unfortunately, Restore Magic is kind of off limits in terms of anything that I can sell. I need that. Alright, not bad. I don't know if I'll be making all that much money off of this, but let's try and take it to 1500 and see where we go from there. Look at the difference that made. I should probably do a deeper clean as far as my potions and scrolls are concerned.
Welcome, friend. You're nearly a legend around here. Please, talk.
Some of these things I actually have some use for, so it may be that I'm actually hanging on to these for a specific reason. Yeah, I mean, they're all not bad to keep. Alright. I'm sure at some point I'll learn to let go, but...
Welcome. If you wish to talk, it is really no trouble.
Hey, Maiseline. You know the drill. Sage with Mora, please.
Do you want something?
Just a faster passage to where I need to go. So I'm sort of running on the assumption and the hope that that was sufficient to clear out the shrine. Ah, damn it. I am very frightened as to how much we just lost with that crash. It's funny because I said I was just gonna, maybe I should just sleep. Alright, so I'm gonna guess we haven't done the... Alright, well. I will get a few things done that I did before. say I was gonna hang on? Yeah, I guess I said I was gonna hang on to the Ring of the Wind. Oh, but I didn't sleep. Alright, so this is going to be a little tedious because this is just redoing a bunch of stuff that we've already done, but
Yes.
Please, go ahead.
I'll try and make it quick. Yeah, you and me both, sister. That's right, and then I didn't have any of the other books to sell. Because I got those inside of the, inside of the shrine. Alright.
May you find all that you seek, traveler.
You flatter me with your attention.
Should probably switch this to, Perfect Bomb, just in case.
An honor, to be sure.
Hi, Mazeline. Say it with more, please.
I'm a...
Trying to see if there was a sly way I could get to those docks a little bit faster.
Find someone else to bother.
Is there something I can do for you, Outlander?
Obviously, I'm significantly less enthusiastic to be making this trip than I was the first time. I'll still try and do things like, you know, fill up some of the soul gems and whatnot, but, I don't know if I can avoid... If I can avoid taking too many ridiculously heavy items, I'll avoid it. The thing is that that shrine does have a bunch of rather good stuff, and I need to travel back anyway, so it's not completely out of the question to use a recall in that situation. It's interesting to see there are monsters in all the same spots, but different kinds. So there used to be an ogrim over there. There was a golden saint sort of standing in a field around this point. Now it's a rat.
I don't know where to begin.
I see this last.
Yeah, I want to become the Nerevarine.
You are the hero. You decide what must be done. We are not traitors to haggle over the meaning of safe. We are not a warlike people. We are not strong with warriors and witch wizards. Make Al Daedroth safe for us. Then, when I accompany you to Al Daedroth, then you and I will judge whether or not it's safe. When you're sure Al Daedroth is safe, you will return here to me, and then I will accompany you, and together we will cross the water to Al Daedroth. If I may pass in safety to the old sanctuary and see the great statue in the inner shrine, then the place will be safe for my people. I have not the arts of war, but I have courage. I wager my life against the safety of my people. But if Al Daedroth is not safe, if I die on my journey, remember, if I die, you will not be named the Inmusa Nerevarine.
This is apparently the hardest test of the Nerevarine, given some of the behavior of the AI. I need to remember it's alphabetical. It doesn't have to be that hard of a search. Alright, fine. I'll just ride the cliff racer on the way. Ah! So just given how much I'm carrying, I'm gonna guess I'm gonna need to do a recall. But again, we need to do an escort with a wise woman anyway, so. At least in this case, I am getting a little bit closer to the people I need to talk to. The other thing is I'll have less of the Indorel armor. Assuming that I don't anger them. Hi.
I don't know you, Outlander. What are you doing here? Are you here to worship at this foul shrine?
No, I'm here to loot this shrine.
Alright then, we don't care about that. In fact, you'd be doing us a favor if you kill a few witches and warlocks in the process. Just be careful, leave us alone, and we'll leave you alone.
You may speak.
I hope you guys like the Ashlanders, though. You guys seem to be getting along fine now.
Find somewhere else to die.
I don't know you, do I? Are you here for the dance, or are you here with the gold hats? Did you know what's going on? Go down and talk to Hilareni Indivel in the antechamber, back behind the big room with the Shagarath statue. There's free drinks too. Watch out for the gold hats. They play rough.
I'm pretty sure you guys should be fighting right now.
I don't know you. Are you here for the dance, or are you here with the gold hats?
A lot less Daedra than I remember last time. so I'm gonna wind up with the 4 or 5 strength anyway. Fine then. Still over encumbered. Wow. Alright, leave that be for now. Maybe I'll come back for it. Alright, now I'm getting involved. I am more than a little amused at his scream at the end of saying this is going to be too easy. Just let me take the damn katana. That axe. Ah. I said I would come back for it. There it is. Alright, so the stuff that I definitely can't sell. Wait a minute. Yeah. I will be able to sell some of these. I'm still carrying a lot of weight, so I gotta keep an eye on that. And just because I can at the moment, let's get organized. Oops. Okay. It pains me to do this, but I am actually going to do the alchemy. Although, let's, I will get rid of the precious stones first. And that's just because that's going to give me a chance to turn in a bunch of stuff with the alchemist and sort of make the most of the potion making. Alright, so first things we're getting rid of white salts for the regenerate mana, and then vampire dust unless we have something to boost strength. I'm not going to use those. Next up, moon sugar. I want to see if there's anything to fortify speed. Some of the stone flour and some crushed fiber. In fact, that lets me put the crushed fiber aside. I seem to think that the heather was useful for something. Alright, so if that's no drain agility, I should get... Ah, there we go. Again, the real focus here is going to be on drain if I can. Because I want to turn this into something that I just purely sell. Do I have any drain willpower? So there's one thing I forgot. Oh, it's void. Damn it. Alright, so let's see if I can get any drain willpower. Nope. Drain fatigue is a pretty easy one to deal with. Drain intelligence. Alright, no, so resist poison, telekinesis. I thought I had something along those lines, but apparently not. That'll at least help me with it. Pretty sure we've got drain health somewhere. Oh, I should have used the fire salts. I've been carrying those around forever. All right. Well. Wait, do I not have anything that restores fatigue now? That's funny if I do. Oh, it is the rat meat that resists poison. Drain speed or drain personality. Alright, so whatever it was that drained personality, I don't have an abundance anymore. Wait a minute. I'm not very observant. Drain Magica. No, it's basically just drain fatigue at this point, and I could have sworn I had a paralysis somewhere here. Guess not. maximize the number of potions I get out of this. Still carrying a lot. Alright, so let's see how much of this stuff we can sell.
Yes, Outlander, what may I do for you?
I have some books for you. It's kind of the same one I keep selling you, to be honest.
Outlander seeks
Alright, first things first, I'm gonna try and get some armorer's hammers out of this. Not that I'm looking for the extra weight, but...
Not a lot of pretty ladies around.
That was a really random thing for him to say. Alright, have I got some beauties for you? Where's the 6 others at? Oh, come on.
Well,
So much for the rest. It's good to know I can sell that to her, though. And here, I think a fortify personality would not go amiss. So I will try and, here I'm trying to do a big deal, so I'm gonna pick up whatever, whatever I think is helpful. Be nice if there was a fortify speed in here somewhere. Alright, and now we're going to sell a ton of potions. surprised that they're not buying that. Oh, wait. That. Wait a minute. That was a first. I could try pursuing all the other merchants, but all I'm gonna do here is take a quick trip to Jira, just to get some extra comberry. Now again, we're not gonna do any more. Actually, no, I won't bother with any potions out of that.
What should we talk about?
I'll take a quick minute just to see if there's any fortify speed, but I don't think there was. Well, I mean, there's the moon sugar I can buy back, but that was optimistic. It's all 0.2 now, huh? I don't want to sell the fortify strength. Alright, well, I'll sell what I can out of the fatigue, I guess.
Good friend. Welcome. If you wish to talk, it is really.
And then I should be able to free up a bunch of space, just dropping off the things I'll sell later.
May you find me welcome, friend. I see this land suits you. Freely.
So just branch this into C, in case I wind up being able to sort of recreate that crash over and over. Alright, we're doing a bit better on weight. It always stresses me out. I have 2 piles of the same thing, but I really don't want to have to go through all this again. Didn't I get a bunch of hammers? Yes. So I haven't had a piece of gear break during a quest for a while now, but I feel like it's helpful just to have a spare
May
I'm
you
very
find
happy to
me
make your
worthy.
acquaintance.
Can't believe I'm below 400. It feels like it's been a while since I've had that.
Yes, honored guest.
How delightful.
Hey, Maiseline. Sadra Mora again. Thank you. Should be able to get a couple of fireballs off and still be able to be at higher magicka. You know, it's also occurred to me, seeing as I'm carrying 30 soul gems, like lesser soul gems, I need to decide whether or not I'm actually going to try and fill those. Because that is a lot of weight for no reason.
Under sun
Hi,
and
girls.
sky outland,
Try not to crash the
we
boat this
greet
time,
you
please.
warmly.
Is there something I can do for you, Outlander?
Pause, please. Getting a little low on wick weight, but I don't have as many needs for it. So I'll leave it be for now, but I suppose if I can change my mind on that later. I don't know if this will have the intended effect, but yeah, I don't have a strong enough soul gem. Fair enough. I reserve the right to drop any at a moment's notice. We've almost certainly picked these, but oh, guess I haven't. Alright, now hopefully I she is satisfied with the state of the dungeon.
Yes, Caius. Are you ready now for me to accompany you to Aldeidroth?
I am.
Have you made Aldeidroth a safe place for the Amusa? If I may pass in safety to the old sanctuary and see the great statue in the inner shrine, then the place is safe for my people. If Aldeidroth is safe, are you ready for me to accompany you there and test with our lives whether it is indeed safe?
Yes, please accompany me to Aldeidroth.
Very well, Caius. Now I will accompany you to the Daedric shrine of Aldeidroth, and when you have brought me to the old sanctuary beneath the ruins, I may see the great statue of Shegarath in the inner shrine. I will then surely know that you have made Aldeidroth safe for Amusa, and I will name you Amusa Nerevarine. Go ahead, and we will speak further before the great statue.
This is going to be interesting. So given the fact that she's probably not going to be levitating, I suppose. Alright. Well, two can play at that. My water walk doesn't last as long as yours, lady. I'm also trying to give these cliff razors a wide berth. This is going to be heartbreaking if I wind up missing some minor creature. Oh, that is a scary sound to hear here. Looks like she's not able to make it up there. All right. Over here, please. Whenever you're ready. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hey, wait for me. Hey, wait for me.
Where'd you go? Um, Oh, this is frustrating. Alright, where the hell did my escort just go? I might just reload to... So we walked through here. I walked in here. Oh, it's back at the camp. Alright, well. I'll know for next time.
You flatter me with your attention.
Hey, wait for me.
So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna make it a somewhat roundabout way just to avoid the cliff razors. And I think just for safety I might do a save when we get to the island. Because to be honest, I'm not exactly crazy about having to redo so much of this.
Hey, wait for me.
This might be a little grim. Alright, I'm running out of the potion, but I think I'll go into the drink just for certainty.
I will end your
wait until you are on top of me before opening this door. There he is.
Thank you.
I said I would accompany you, Caius, to see if you had made Aldeidroth safe for the Amusa. You have fulfilled my conditions. Thank you, Caius. The Amusa shall be saved. And if you wish, I shall now name you Nerevarine of the Amusa. Or Amusa. You've made this place safe for the Amusa, and so I name you Amusa Nerevarine, war leader of the Amusa and protector of the people. I also give you the Madstone of Amusa, which shall be the sign to all Dunmer that you are the Nerevarine, and that the Amusa shall follow you in all things, even unto death, until the enemy is defeated or until you are dead. Now I can stay only briefly. Soon I must return to Amusa camp and make preparations to relocate here. Sinamu Mirpal agrees that I have fulfilled my part of the bargain. Aldeidroth is safe enough to be a refuge for the Amusa. Therefore, she has named me Amusa Nerevarine, war leader of the Amusa and protector of the people. She has also given me the Madstone of Amusa, an enchanted heirloom of the tribe, which shall be a sign to all Dunmer that the Amusa have named me Nerevarine.
Welcome,
Can't
friend.
imagine why they would
We're
have the
nearly a
Madstone
legend
as a,
around. Please, talk.
You know what, tell me more about Shigarath.
For those who've served Shigarath, the Mad Lord, there is no good or evil, right or wrong, true or false, real or unreal. For them, there is only what they want and what they see. With some carelessness, only the very strong and very lucky cultists survive, while the weak provide sport and amusement for the others. And the spawn of Shigarath are never twice the same, and each more terrible than the next. It is an evil cult and dangerous.
Alright. I'm debating as to whether or not I should try to go to something like Dagon Fell and take a boat back, but I think I'll just levitate my way to back to the camp. I don't exactly need a third potion, but I still don't like getting wet. So I know better than to try and sell any of the items that I just got while in this camp. For now, we'll just use up the last little bit that I have of the levitation potion, and then we'll make our way to our third tribe. Of course, I'm saving the fourth, the most difficult one, for last. And apparently I've forgotten how roads work. Still a nice chance to see the scenery. I forgot this was a different camp that I cleared out. Well, I say cleared out. They did attack first. And I've since learned my lesson, so now that I've found the next village, I'm saving. It is I, Nerevar.
So, you're Caius, the Outlander who claims to fulfill the Nerevarine prophecies. You are welcome to our hospitality, Outlander, but you must tell us, how can an Outlander be the Nerevarine? We've heard the rumors. We know you to be an outlander who claims to fulfill the Nerevarine prophecies, but teach us, Caius, how could an outlander be the Nerevarine? Oh, excuse me, do not think me rude, but seriously, do you believe this story yourself? I mean, no offense, but you must admit, you are an outlander, and completely ignorant of our ways. How could you ever be our war leader? What sensible Ashcan would ever choose you to lead the tribes? Ho ho. Skies above. If talk were wealth, you'd make me rich. Don't you ever get tired of talking?
Give me a task, then.
Very well. A vampire named Calviero has taken refuge nearby in the Nerano ancestral tomb. If you are as worthy as you say you are, it should be a small matter for you to dispose of the vampire. There, you have your task. Perhaps now you'd leave me in peace for a little bit?
As it happens, I have already taken care of it. Or I thought I did.
Nerano ancestral tomb is to the north, but you are a stranger and may get lost. Listen, go west from our camp until you reach the mountains, then turn north and follow the mountains, keeping them on your left. When you pass the ruins of Nuchtfeld, keep your eyes to the east, looking for an entrance flanked by 2 trees on the western slope of a hill in the center of the Grazelands. That will be the Nerano ancestral tomb. Calvario is a vampire, a young one, but quite dangerous, of course. I'm sure an adventurer of your wide experience would know. Probably driven out of his lair by older, more powerful vampires. I would never offer advice to someone of your reputation, but perhaps a visit to the potion makers and enchanters in Tel Voss and Tel Mora might be in order. Don't use them myself, but they say potions and scrolls can be quite handy in a tight spot.
Tell me what you know about vampires.
Vampires are monsters that feed on humanoid blood. Once they were human, like you and me, but they get the blood disease from another vampire, and they become vampires themselves. That's why they still exist. Everyone hates them, yet no one wants to come near one. But doesn't the prophecy say that the Nerevarine has nothing to fear from disease? So you have nothing to worry about, I'm sure.
I'm very happy to make your acquaintance.
Alright, so apparently I haven't dealt with him. Should be simple enough. And I won't follow the instructions to the letter. I'll find Nook left and then I'll follow the advice. I know there's been more than a couple of times where I've been given a task only to find out that it was something that I did earlier. Ah, 2 trees. And some more. That actually looks very suggestive. Like there could have been an entrance right here. Anyway, so when I follow the mountains, get to the ruins, turn east, there's an entrance flanked by 2 trees. western slope of a hill. Apparently I may still need to be going by the mountains. That was the thing I didn't quite pay attention to. Unless it's here, like it seems very likely that it would be in this area. Damn. I think I got rid of my heavy restore fatigues, if I'm not mistaken. I guess the question is, how far away from Nukleft am I supposed to be looking? I thought that was a golden saint and it was a signpost. Bingo. So apparently this was one of these ones I walked by and I said, you know what? I don't need to worry about it.
Morris, you boys better clear out. Our position was given away and we were raided by that bastard Gorus. He sent a small band of dead to Dralis and wiped out all but Leuven. He was able to make it back here to Nellis to warn us. We were clearing out and heading for a new location. I suggest you and your boys get out of there as soon as possible. We have a snitch in our organization. Let me find out who it is and I'll feed their flesh to the crabs. It seems as though he knows all of our raiding routes. It's just a matter of time before Gorus sends them damned and dead up your way. I'll never turn those goods over to that necro. It's fair is fair and he had to pay up. You know where I'm coming from. I'm sending Ursine to deliver this message to you. She will deliver a key so you can gain entry into the rendezvous point. See you soon and good luck, brother. Bacharach.
So now we know where the, oh god, it's one of these. It's like Indurel or something.
The Ransom of Zarek, Ancient Tales of the Dwemer, Part 1 by Marabar Sewell. Jalamil stood in her garden and read the letter her servant had brought to her. The bouquet of joss roses in her hand fell to the ground. For a moment, it was as if all the birds had ceased to sing and a cloud had passed over the sky. Her carefully cultivated and structured haven seemed to flood over with darkness. We have thy son, it read. We will be in touch with thee shortly with our ransom demands. Zarek had never made it as far as Akgun after all. One of the brigands on the road, orcs probably, or accursed Dunmer, must have seen his well-appointed carriage and taken him hostage. Dalamil clutched at a post for support, wondering if her boy had been hurt. He was but a student, not the sort to fight against well-armed men, but had they beaten him? It was more than a mother's heart could bear to imagine. Don't tell me they sent a ransom note so quickly, called a family voice, and a familiar face appeared through the hedge. It was Zarek. Jalamil hurried to embrace her boy, tears running down her face. "What happened?" she cried. "I thought thou had been kidnapped." "I was," said Zarek. 3 huge soaring Nords attacked by carriage on the Frimvorn Pass. Brothers, as I learned, named Matthias, Ulin, and Kurg. Thou should have seen these men, mothers. Each one of them would have had trouble fitting through the front door, I can tell thee. "What happened?" Jalamil repeated. "Were thou rescued?" "I thought about waiting for that, but I knew they'd send off a ransom note, and I know how thou dost worry. So I remembered what my mentor at Akgun always said about remaining calm, observing thy surroundings, and looking for thy opponent's weakness." Zarek grinned. "It took a while, though, because these fellows were truly monsters, and then, when I listened to them bragging to one another, I realized that vanity was their weakness." "What did thou do?" "They had me chained to their camp in the woods not far from Kale, over a high knoll overlooking a wide river. I heard one of them, Kurg, telling the others that it would take the better part of an hour to swim across the river and back. They were nodding in agreement when I spoke up. "I could swim that river and back in 30 minutes, I said. "Impossible," said Kurg. "I can swim faster than a little whelp like thee." So it was agreed that we would dive off the cliff, swim, and to the center island and return, and we went to our respective rocks. Kurg took it upon himself to lecture me about all the fine points of swimming, the importance of synchronized movements and of the arms and legs for maximum speed, how essential it was to breathe after only the 3rd or 4th stroke, not too often to slow thyself down, but not too often to lose one's air. I nodded and agreed to all his fine points. Then we dove off the cliffs. I made it to the island and back in little over an hour, but Kurg never returned. He had dashed his brains at the rocks at the base of the cliff. I had noticed the telltale undulations of underwater rocks and had taken the diving rock on the right. "But thou returned?" asked Jalamil, astounded. "Was that not then when thou escaped?" "It was too risky to escape then," said Zarek. "They could have easily caught me again, and I wasn't keen to be blamed for Kurg's disappearance. I said I did not know what happened to him, and after some searching they decided he had forgotten about the race and had swum ashore to hunt for food. They could not see how I could have anything to do with his disappearance, as fully visible as I was throughout my swim. The 2 brothers began making camp along the rocky cliff edge, picking an ideal location so that I would not be able to escape. One of the brothers, Matthias, began commenting on the quality of the soil and the gradual incline of the rock that circled around the bay below. Ideal, he said, for a foot race. I expressed my ignorance of the sport, and he was keen to give me the details of proper technique for running a race. He made absurd faces, showing how one must breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, how to bend one's knees to the proper angle on the rise, the importance of sure foot placement. Most important, he explained, was that the runner keep an aggressive but not too strenuous pace if one intends to win. It is fine to run in second place through the race, he said, provided that one has the willpower and strength to pull out in the end. I was an enthusiastic student, and Matthias decided that we ought to run a quick race around the edge of the bay before night fell. Ulin told us to bring back some firewood when we came back. We began at once down the path, skirting the cliff below. I followed his advice about breath, gait, and foot placement, but I ran with all my power right from the start. Despite his much longer legs, I was a few paces ahead as we wound the first corner. With his eyes on my back, Matthias did not see the gape in the rock that I jumped over. He plummeted over the cliff before he had a chance to cry out. I spent a few minutes gathering some twigs before I returned to Ulin at the camp. Now that we're just showing off, frowned Jalamil. Surely that would have been a good time to escape. Thou might think so, agreed Zarek, but thou had to see the topography, a few large trees and then nothing but shrubs. Ulin would have noticed my absence and caught up with me in no time, and I would have a hard time explaining Matthias' absence. However, the brief forage around the area allowed me to observe that some of the trees close up, and I could formulate my final plan. When I got back to camp with a few twigs, I told Ulin that Matthias was slow coming along, dragging a large dead tree behind him. Ulin scoffed at his brother's strength, saying that it would take him time to pull up a live tree by the roots and drop it on the bonfire. I expressed reasonable doubt. I'll show thee, he said, ripping up a 10-foot-tall specimen effortlessly. But that's scarcely a sapling, I objected. I thought thou could rip up a tree. His eyes followed mine to a magnificent, heavy-looking one at the edge of the clearing. Ulin grabbed it and began to shake it with tremendous force to loosen its roots from the dirt. With that, he loosened the hive from the uppermost branches, dropping it down on his head. That's when I made my escape, Mother, said Zarek. In conclusion, showing a little schoolboy pride. While Matthias and Kurg were at the base of the cliff and Ulin was flailing about, engulfed by a swarm, Jalamil embraced her son once again. Publisher's note. I was reluctant to publish the works of Marabar Sul, but when the University of Gwillem Press asked me to edit this edition, I decided to use this as an opportunity to set the record straight once and for all. Scholars do not agree on the exact date of Marabar Sul's work, but it is generally agreed that they were written by the playwright Gor Felem, famous for the popular comedies and romances during the interregnum between the fall of the First Cyrodiilic Empire and the rise of Tiber Septim. The current theory holds that Felem heard a few genuine Dwemer tales and adapted them to the stage in order to make money, along with rewritten versions of many of his own plays. Gor Felem created the persona of Marabar Sul, who could translate the Dwemer language in order to add some sort of validity to the work and make it even more valuable to the gullible. Note that while Marabar Sul and his works became the subject of heated controversy, there are no reliable records of anyone actually meeting Marabar Sul, nor was there anyone of that name employed by the Mages Guild, the School of Julianos, or any other intellectual institution. In any case, the Dwemer in most of the tales of Marabar Sul bear little resemblance to the fearsome, unfathomable race that frightened even the Dunmer, Nords, and Redguards into submission and have built ruins that now have yet to be understood. Even now have yet to be understood.
Thou wouldst do well to drop the these and thous from the writing. I don't want to guess how long that rat meat was there. It's been a while since I picked up some assault trees. That was straightforward. really worth taking. Alright, let's get back to the camp. Always happy to pick up shock resin, although it isn't as useful as I used to think. So other than the technical problems, it seems like becoming the Nerevarine. Well, I mean uniting the Ashlander clans behind my claim as the Nerevarine is a bit easier than the Hortator. And I suppose that I can see why it involves a lot of walking around the district trying to get in touch with everyone. So I suspect the Ashlander tasks are a bit more simple. As a consequence. Although I guess if you need to meet all the counselors, there's still some travel involved. I wonder how I move up in the Ashlanders. Simplicity itself.
Welcome, Outlander. Dead? Well then, perhaps I was mistaken. Perhaps you should be the Nerevarine. Well, so you killed the vampire Calavero. I'm happy to acknowledge you as the Zynet Nerevarine, but it is customary for one seeking an honor from the Ashcan to offer the Ashcan a generous gift as a mark of respect. Because you are an Outlander, you do not know our customs, I will do you the great favor of naming the gift I wish to receive. A high-born Telveni bride, a pretty one, plump, with big hips to bring me many sons. Where will you find a highborn Telveni bride? That is simple. You should visit highborn Telveni lords and inform them that Ashcan Kashoud of the lordly Zainab would do them the honor of making their daughter his bride. Surely many Telveni lords would be honored to receive such an offer. Consider carefully the many daughters offered and choose for me the finest. Take counsel with my wise woman, Sonumu Zabmat. She knows my mind well in such matters.
Good lord.
I asked Ashcan Kashoud where I might find him a highborn Telveni bride. He said that I should visit highborn Telveni lords and inform each that Ashcan Kashoud of lordly Zainab will do them the honor of making one of their daughters his bride. He trusts me to choose the finest among those offered. The Ashcan told me to take counsel with his wise woman, Sonumu Zabmat, who knows his mind well in such matters. Since Calaviero is dead, Ashcan Kashoud says that he would call me the Nerevarine, but not until the traditional rites and customs have been observed. It is customary to offer the Ashcan a generous gift. As a mark of respect, Ashcan Kashoud has done me the great favor of naming the gift he wishes to receive, a highborn Telveni bride, a pretty one plump with big hips to bring me many sons.
I think this is in the wrong order. On that bombshell, I'll still visit the wise woman, but is up with your ash can?
Kashaud wants a Telvanni bride, eh? No highborn Telvanni would wed an Ashlander, but I have a plan. Go to my friend Seville Amayan, slave mistress of the festival slave market in Tel Arun, and tell her that you need a pretty Dunmer slave to pose as a Telvanni lady. Then Seville Amayan will tell you what clothes to buy, and will dress her up like a highborn Telvanni, then escort the pretty slave to Zainab camp, and present her to Ashkan Kashaud as a highborn Telvanni bride. He won't know the difference.
Do I have to engage in slavery to do this?
Welcome, friend. You're nearly a legend around here.
A
Please,
question
talk.
we will deal with in the next broadcast. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week.